Supercoach 360.
Supercoach 360. Animation.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
So,
Bergs, talk about your team for a minute.
no.
Team's really good. It's coming along.
So the return from the dead, it's pretty much 5 players that you looked at.
4
players that you looked at that you think this year are going to have a better year because they've been injury affected last season. We've seen them perform and get to gun status before.
No, not all of them have performed at gun status, but I just think there's enough there to
get them there this year.
Take them to the next level.
So a few people
hopefully.
to look at. Who you got for us?
I've got Tony Staggs. Obviously, we all know what Tony could do on a good day.
He's a menace, eh? He's an absolute monster.
He is.
Especially if he stays at centre and it's just his job is to just pretty much get within 20
definitely
and then
play at centre.
break the line. I mean, that's his job. It's pretty much as soon as we're in 20, get the ball, break the line, and because he's just so strong, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So he's pretty injury affected, as we know. He's only played 18 games in the last 2 years, but he's averaged 60 in those games, coming back from injury and whatnot. So I think with Adam Reynolds added to the side, I can see an uptick in Tony's Supercoach scoring.
Yeah, see, A-Ray can create the opportunity for him.
He does it
Hopefully.
himself, man. If you ever watch the bloke, he seems to do it himself.
Yeah,
If you give him
he's
space,
like a little David Fafita.
If you give him space, he does well with it. He don't waste it.
Yep.
He hits gaps. He's pretty much one-on-one, hard to tackle, eh? Like, he'll break a tackle.
His price, because he had the injury affected last year, his price $110,000 under his actual average cost. So at $433,000, I think I'm going to roll the dice with him.
Well, I personally have him in my side at the moment. Don't know if I'm going to... If I can find cheaper options, I'm going to take him.
Oh, absolutely.
But at this point, I have him in my side for same reasons. And just watching the bloke the last few years, he does in a shit Brisbane side, done it on his own. They're starting to slowly... I won't say they're getting better, but they're building. They'll have a halfback this year that actually probably direct the team around better than the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Well, they've got an
that's
experienced actual halfback now.
That's a help to a bloke like a Tony Staggs who's been doing it on the back of his own work. So,
Oh, who else you got?
No, I got Luke Keary.
All right, Sydney Roosters halfback, 4
Yeah.
5/8, yeah.
Either or either. He'll play halfback, I'd say, this year, maybe.
Yeah, he's got the dual position.
Doesn't matter. He's going to play the same role no matter the number he wears.
No, but for Supercoach relevance, it does.
He's both. He's dual.
He is the dual position,
Yeah.
so that's proven very beneficial in the past because if you've got an injury to then either of your halves, you've still got that gun that's operating. I mean, we know he can be injury
Well, not only
prone.
that, but you can also trade out that one for another gun, depending on
Yeah, it's either.
either position, depending on where you had them.
No, that's it. Having a couple of dual positions in the halves is definitely very beneficial. So, yeah, why Luke Keary?
I don't know, to be honest with you. He's never really been a top-tier gun, ever. He had 3 games last year, or 2.5 games last year, where he averaged 75.5.
I was about to say, he looked really good in those
He
games,
did.
though.
That's what I'm leaning it towards.
Especially if he was able to have that translate into Supercoach points, then... Yeah,
Well, he did. He played 2 full games and I think 30-odd minutes in the second one and averaged 75.5. So it was off to a flyer, which might be more minutes than that. I might have that wrong.
What's he priced at?
a 75 average.
He's priced at $528,000, which is not...
That's pretty good for a half.
75
For a gun half.
average. I think he's about 100 and something thousand under what he should be at the 75-point average.
And could be a season-long.
And yeah, because I think the Roosters are my favourites this year, personally, if they can stay healthy, obviously. And like I say, a lot of points and a lot of Supercoach points coming from the Roosters.
Yeah.
What makes you think that they're going to be so much better just because they have the full complement? Or
Absolutely. You've seen what they did when Teddy was pretty much carrying him on his shoulders last year.
Yeah.
Throw
Still making
Keary,
finals.
Collins and all that back into the mix, and I think they're going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah.
They are. They're a very strong club.
Well, they've just added with Watto as well. Like,
Yeah.
he's not just a 14. Like, he's a 14 that can play everything but prop forward, probably.
Oi, boys.
He'd still give that a go.
Yeah, he would.
Sorry, it's taken me near 4 years, but I reckon I got a smoky for you.
Yeah,
Paul Momirovski.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I don't.
Recruited from the Panthers. If he pulls up that centre spot, I've heard he's going to goal kick as well.
Yeah,
And so if he's got that base from goal kicking, we know he can score a try. Good hands. If he can learn how to pass. I mean, it might have been a Panthers thing. I've noticed both centres at the Panthers on both sides. Sometimes they just hold passes. So I think it's part of their game plan, to be honest. And if he's let loose on the other side and he can get those try assists and stuff instead of just keeping the ball and keeping the possession, which is the Panthers game, then yeah, I think there could be a few points on offer there from old Momo.
I really like Momirovski on both levels as a NRL player and a Supercoach player this year, especially if he kicks goals, like you said. He's probably the one that will knock Keegan out of the left centre spot. I think Josh Morris was left centre, yeah. So I think, yeah, he's definitely one to watch.
Alrighty. So who else you got in the return from the dead there, buddy?
I got Cam McInnes. Obvious reasons, I think everyone knows he missed all of last year, so he's at a reduced rate. I think he was $535,000.
He's also had a club change too, to a
He
club
has.
that can score more points and have a new coach coming in from a good system.
Yeah, I don't think attacking stats are McInnes's go.
Just
He's
base.
down and dirty,
Yeah.
get the job done. And yeah, I like him at his price. I think he's priced well below his average.
Where do you see him fitting into that Sharks lineup? Is he going to pick up an edge spot, or is he going to be a lock, or are they going to play him as a 14?
Well, I think he might play a bit of lock, and maybe young Brayley will get a bit of rest too. Maybe 15 minutes at hooker and
Maybe
40 odd at lock.
I mean, look, Melbourne proved last year if you've got two hookers, that fast-paced strategy can come in very beneficial, especially with the penalties being thrown in this year. If you're able to play on through that penalty and you don't have to take the kick, then if they blow the penalty, then bang, that's it. You can just have some fun with that.
Yeah, but I'll definitely be watching McInnes. He's priced 15 points below his average from 2020.
Yeah.
Which has only really been his one breakout year, but I'm willing to back him in again.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, the second season Blues got him real hard. You guys said after the breakout year, they tend to experience a bit of a dip, but yeah, not usually. What was it, torn ACL?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 12 months out, shifted to another club.
He's always been an effort man, but his efforts have got better and bigger as his career's gone on. I think he won't dip, if you know what I mean.
He's only going to gain from where he is, which at the starting point of the season, value is the name of the game. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, if you can generate cash to use as people to stepping stones,
And
if they're not working out.
Is he dual still?
I think so. He's dual with hooker.
I don't know. I'd say he will be.
I think I've already double checked.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah. So, who else is on there?
yeah, he averaged in 2020, he averaged just under 50 tackles per game. So Cook and Marnie for the extra, what were they?
60, 70.
Extra 40, 50 grand, yeah. He averaged pretty much 10 less than them in just tackles. Playing a bit of lock, running the ball, there's more points. I like him.
All right.
And the last one's Pat Carrigan. We kind of touched on Paddy a little bit. Average last year wasn't great, but it was a very injury-affected season for Paddy. Very up and down. His 2020 average of 67, we'll call it,
Quiet as a horse, Con.
is 15 points better than his last year average, and I can see him getting back more towards that with Lodge and Pengai gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it. Well, he's sort of got to step up because, I mean, those guys were a couple of big units. So, Paddy Carrigan, where do you see him? You see him playing hooker or do you see him playing front row? Bergs, I think you've already answered this. It's sort of front row.
I think he'll play lock, personally.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I think Lock's now more of a ball distributor and role, and I don't know if Paddy Carrigan's got that ball distributor in him, whereas Everington did have a bit. So that swayed me more towards Paddy Carrigan going into the front row.
At the end of the day, there's no real difference whether one wears 10, one wears 13, and vice versa, because they're all in the middle. They can still do that ball playing role as an 8 or a 10 or a 13. It's not like the 13 has to do it, I'd say.
Do it. That's their benefit. They got that dude who can.
Well, Junior Paulo does it at Parramatta.
Yeah. Like there's a few out there that do it, you know.
Hold on, while we're on the subject of Brisbane and Payne Haas, though, before we move on to the next one, Payne Haas, are you guys both starting with him, being the gun front rower?
At the moment, I have him in my side.
You can afford him?
But yeah, the rest of my side shit. And I'm worried about maybe spending too much money up front.
Yep.
Just because last year it proved they're all pretty much a much except for Payne Haas.
Yep.
You know, he's a bit further in front than the rest.
But is he
of
the
them.
Nath of the front row? Is he just that far ahead of anyone else in that position
think-
that you need him to be in the
I
game?
think something Con pointed out to me a couple of years ago, like to get him in won't be as hard as to get in someone that can score 150s.
Yeah, your Nath,
You
your
know
high
what I
ceiling
mean? Like,
players.
so you could easily wait on a Payne Haas. Like, you're going to miss 30, 40 points maybe here and there, but you could probably make them up somewhere else with money more well spent, if you know what I mean.
What are your other, like, what's
Well,
the
last
price?
last year he only averaged 68. Like, not only, that's pretty good. IPAP beat him, obviously, as the only one, but the other ones just behind him were Luke Thompson with 66.5, Pengai 65, and Fisher Harris 62. So he wasn't all that far in front like Nath compared to Cherry Evans and Hughes.
Yep.
So yeah, I
It
think
was the first year, though.
yeah, the year before he was a fair bit in front, but yeah,
Playing 80 minutes nearly every game then, though, too.
I mean, different coaches now, though, but, I mean,
I think Uto Ekamanu from the Tigers is a little Payne Haas, another year older, another pre-season. I think he's better
Really?
value at his
okay.
price
He's still
compared to getting Haas in.
expensive.
All right, well, I got a question here from Matt Edmondson, right? It says, who would you prefer next to Haas in the front row? Stefano Udoikamanu, who's already currently on 25% ownership.
457,000.
Or would you prefer Bergs' old mate, Jai Arrow, starting on the edge over at the Bunnings?
Is he guaranteed to start?
Well, I don't know.
If he is starting on the edge, I like him
Yeah.
because he will play on the right, unfortunately. But only if he's playing 80. If he's not
Yes.
playing 80 on that edge, I don't like it.
Well, in saying that, everyone who's pretty much played that edge has played 80 the last couple of years. Like, they do nothing. They get your 40s, like your Sewers and your... There was a dude before Jaden Sewer as well.
Can he come into the middle rotation? Can he come into lock from there for whatever reason?
Oh, absolutely, he could. If
Can
that's what they choose to do. But I can't see Jai Arrow playing 80 minutes.
No?
Not mixed in between the edge and the middle.
All right.
Did he used to do that at the Titans, or he's never played 80 minutes, has he? He's never really been an 80-minute man.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, the interesting thing with Souths and how they work this year is you've got the new coach factor.
Well, the
And
new
Jason eventually-
coach has been under Wayne for
Long time.
a lot, yeah, as far back as I can remember. So I'd say they're going to be very similar.
But wasn't Bellamy under Wayne for a while? And
A little bit, not as long as Demetrio has been.
No? All right. Well,
Demetrio has been the heir apparent for the last 10 years or whatever.
all right.
Yeah, long time.
And then he got gifted Souths.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So Udo Wikamano is your call on that for Matty?
I like Uto, or I don't mind Luke Thompson.
Yeah, I've heard a few people talking about Luke Thompson.
In saying that,
That's an extra $130,000
I was
or whatnot.
talking to Jay today, Jay Strasberg, and he pointed out that they don't have the greatest draw. That was a TPJ talk, actually.
But a hard draw, I think, suits forwards. Because it has to do more tackling, more grunt work and everything. It's not just
Yeah, but if
end-to-end
it's-
tries.
If it's one of them games where you're just getting fucking belted, there's no offload, there's nothing available, it takes away from their game.
I
as
mean,
well.
you're right. That could be. And also, if they're just denied possession, they don't get a ball, so they don't get a chance. I mean, yeah, they make the defensive tackles, but they don't get a chance to make any hit-ups and any extra points out of
We
that.
don't even know where we're at yet.
That's it. That's the thing with the Bulldogs. And you guys do have a difficult draw to start. But what about the Tigers? What's their draw like? Yeah, you've looked it up, haven't you?
It's okay.
Be honest with the people.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you got no idea.
It's okay, from what I recall.
Yeah, they start off not too bad. They have three top 5 teams from last year in their first 12. They have a lot of games outside the 8, but they don't play the Panthers. They don't play the Rabbits. They play Manly and the Storm. They are like Uto. in that draw because he's going to do the work no matter what.
Awesome.
I don't mind him myself, man.
Look,
He's
I
a
was
big
spewing I
unit.
didn't have him last year. I'll admit.
Got some tries last year, but are they on offer again this year? Or?
Look, they very well may be. I mean, the whole thing with the Tigers is just you never know what's going to come out of them. It's been a change in squad. I mean, you don't expect greatness, but you never know because, I mean, they can pull it out. We've seen them do that. Can you get consistency? Tim Sheens has taken on a bigger role as of last year, so he's been building it now through the off-season and stuff like that. You know, there was all this talk of will Madge go, won't he go, and stuff like that after they did their doco. So I don't think Cameron's going in there again anytime soon. Good on you if they are. But I think it's sort of like the Bulldogs. They're a bit of a watch and act. But you just don't expect greatness. But yeah, I think forwards in the past have proven they can. They're probably the ones that you would go for at those type of clubs.
It's a long road back for Tigers fans. Sorry.
We've all been there at one point, haven't we?
I'm still there with Newcastle.
There you go.
We're still
Bulldogs
travelling down that long
Bulldogs have been in a
road.
rebuilding phase for 15 years, so it happens. Okay, so... Oh, hold on. These are my sections. I've got to pull up my thing.
Makes you crook.
Supercoach 360 podcast.